Paulie Malignaggi, famed boxer and commentator, still suspicious over Manny Pacquiao and drug testing. Stay tuned. Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. 1. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. And we working. Shout out to everybody for the super chats, the donations, the Patreon patrons. Boxing is getting good. Now, people still talking about a Pacquiao Horn. Massive upset. Whether you thought Horn won or lost, they gave it to him. Unanimous decision. Paulie Malignaggi, no stranger to speaking up and speaking out. He was kind of talking about it through Twitter, and I'm going to go through some of his tweets. He said some interesting things. Now, Paulie Malignaggi, he's not one to tuck his tail and shy away from matters. Even in the past, he's mentioned things about Pacquiao, and I interviewed him. I have it on tape. I might even put it at the end of this video, where he says, most guys in boxing I don't have a problem with. I just speak my opinion and people get mad. He says, except for Pacquiao, he said, because I believe Pacquiao cheated. I mean, this is, if you follow boxing, you'll know this has been going on for some time. But he had some very good tweets that were video worthy. And I'm going to have to try to skip through them because he's talking about a multitude of things. People are asking him questions. So I'll try to read the tweets that pertain to this. And let's get it in. Paulie Malignaggi, where does this begin? So someone said, okay, it will be helpful if you list a few key things because I'm utterly confused. Okay, so let's see what started this off. Paulie says, your eyes learn to understand what they're watching, then look for the key things that make the difference in the fight. I believe Paulie is on record saying he had Jeff Horn winning. And he says, punches you feel are landing good. Who's fighting? They are fighting. Who's fight they are fighting. Who's controlling the tempo and pace? Those are some basic things. So sounds like he's on the side of Pacquiao Horn. And then he retweeted this. Somebody says, I gotta say, having Pacquiao Horn on ESPN was good, but you do run the risk of inviting people who literally don't know shit about boxing. And it says, and yes, I did forget about him with the rest of boxing. That's nonsense. You were forgetting about Canelo. Triple G welterweight division is lit even without Pacquiao. How did you score it and why? I didn't score it. Why score if it's clear who have won? And besides, pro boxers and analysts think the same as I do. See, yeah, that's dumb. That's clearly a casual fan, because why would you say, why should I score it? If CompuBox is pointless to look at, then Mayweather isn't 49-0. That makes no sense. And Paulie says, really? I have to hear the explanation to your tweet now, please. LOL. See, I know he gets all kinds of crazy stuff. Aggressor always wins if we don't look at CompuBox. Bro, please never watch another fight again. You literally don't know shit about boxing. Someone says the aggressor, I guess he's responding, the aggressor always wins, right? And CompuBox can be wrong. Castillo, De La Hoya, Maidana, and the great Manny all won their fights then. See, Paulie's right. A lot of y'all don't know what the fuck y'all talking about with boxing. Yeah, but judges don't see CompuBox stats. Reason being is because they're far from facts. You judge a fight on what you see, not what others see. So he's kind of debunking the accuracy or judging the fight in its totality based on CompuBox. Was only one-handed. If you're gullible enough to believe that, which clearly you are, watch the fight. Where was he one-handed? See, and people, you don't understand how these casuals, I told y'all it wasn't going to be a good year for y'all in January. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Fraud Mayweather gave Maidana a rematch, who's supposed to be dangerous but not a one-handed pack. The fact that you have to slander a person, you can't even call them by their name, you already discount your opinion, because we know where that's coming from. But let me get to the other stuff. I'm trying to find it. I'm sorry, you guys. But it's up to you to decide what's landing. You don't look at CompuBox, then decide Horn's pressure wasn't effective. It was awkward and effective. So, again, let's get to the other. He tweeting so much, I don't know how to save only certain tweets. Someone says, always believe a few years earlier, Pacquiao would have outworked Floyd and won on points. One of boxing's big disappointments, that whole saga. He says, entire premise of Pacquiao outworking Floyd was why the drug testing was brought up to begin with. He refused it, so maybe his quote-unquote work pace was aided. So that kind of kicks off the dialogue and the conversation. But one thing you cannot deny, and this is Paulie Malignaggi's verified account, one thing you cannot deny is, in my honest opinion, Pacquiao versus Mayweather, eventually both sides were to blame. But initially, see, there's a difference. Eventually, both sides are to blame for the fight not being made. What I mean by eventually is because after several years of it, Mayweather was like, oh, Pacquiao, make me some sushi. And then Pacquiao sued him. And then people on Floyd's side were talking shit, like Floyd Sr., Roger Mayweather, etc. And Bob Arum was talking shit. Floyd Mayweather, he's barred. You know what I mean? So those things are going to make it hard to negotiate a fight, because both sides are going at each other, slandering each other, talking shit about each other in the media and things like that. You could say, oh, the money split, Floyd offered him $40 million. That's up for debate. Was that fair or not? But the initial, so that's the eventual. I honestly believe you can point the finger at both sides later on, because at some point it got to the point where, like I said, you can't negotiate a fight. That's like Bloods and Crips doing drive-bys and retaliating and jumping people and stealing their chains and stuff, and then trying to negotiate some type of agreement or some kind of organized event. It's just not going to happen with both sides warring like that. So if you guys get that. But initially, the very first reason the talks broke up, like Paulie Malignaggi is saying, was drug testing. Pacquiao did not. Now, you can take it for what it's worth. I don't have to, like, there's no evidence, or I'm not saying, it is what it is. Those are facts. Pacquiao did not want a drug test. I have interviews on my computer where Freddie Roach was like, yeah, Floyd's not the commission. We'll let the commission do their job and this and that. And they said Pacquiao's afraid of needles, this, that, and the other. And the actual fight broke up. Floyd, he kept it. He says, I moved up in weight too, but I wasn't just walking through no damn body. He said, I'll fight Pacquiao. I just want to make sure it's on an even playing field. And he was very consistent with that. So what Paulie is saying here is accurate. I mean, there's speculation at the end where he says maybe his work pace was aided, but the drug testing was what kicked off the fight not happening. And Freddie Roach has already admitted that. Dante's Boxing Nation has the video of it, where Freddie Roach admits that they were being prideful, or whatever he wants to use now. And someone says, Paulie, with Cotto fighting next month, how much? No, we'll skip that, because I know you guys want this Pacquiao work. Yeah, Floyd actually got caught cheating. Pacquiao is all speculation. Why not criticize both? And Paulie says, honestly, I'm not a fan of the TUE either. As for caught, to me, vehemently refusing to drug test at all costs for years is also failing. Saying, like, basically not passing up all that money, and because we never knew that the fight would turn out to be worth as much money as it was in 2015. You know what I mean? That's a big gamble. So at the time, Pacquiao refused a lot of money. And someone says, replying to Paulie Malignaggi, never ceases to amaze me why Pacquiao wasn't torn to shreds in media for refusing initial test. Made the sport look awful, would never fly now. See, this, whoever, shout out to you, Matthew O'Brien. Might be from the UK, maybe I'm just guessing, but he's right. Pacquiao initially refused the drug test, and that it is circumstantial or speculation, but you have to ask yourself, that is kind of weird, why you wouldn't perform that. Like, for example, I've been accused, some people say, oh, you bought subs. I don't have no reason to buy subs. That's stupid to me, because at the end of the day, your wallet is not going to be fatter by buying subscribers. It's only going to give you the fake appearance of having X amount of subscribers, for example. So if someone said, hey, we got 10,000 for you, or whatever the case is, we got some money for you to test your page to see if you're buying subscribers. We have an accurate way of testing to prove if you are or aren't buying subscribers on your YouTube channel. You know what I mean? And they were offering me stacks. Well, let's go. You know what I mean? Because I don't have nothing to hide. It is what it is. Like I said, buying subscribers, buying subs is dumb, because at the end of the day, it'll show an outward number of subscribers, but you look, I mean, it doesn't do nothing for you. Your channel's still going to grow at the rate it naturally was going to grow out. It's just all for, like, it's a faux number. You know what I mean? And Paulie responded to this, Matthew O'Brien. He says, I know, only in boxing, then people wonder why it's no longer a mainstream sport. Even something like drug testing can't be enforced, LOL. And he's right, because sports like NBA, NFL, they have organizations and governing bodies, so it's all stricter. Stats are supposed to be facts, you mental midget. Batting average is a fact. Shots on goals are a fact. Understand how it works, mongoloid. Wow, Paulie's really getting at people. Would have given you more credit if I didn't know you hate Pacquiao's guts, PEDs without proof, and now you're jibbing ESPN's analysis based on facts and their scores. He says, I'm a bit confused. What facts are you talking about? I don't speak casual boxing language. I speak real boxing language. Please explain. Wow, Paulie be having fun with this. Ben Johnson said, Paulie, you got inside knowledge of Pacquiao taking PEDs, or is it just your opinion? And he says, I have very good inside knowledge, but people will never get jobs again if they out him. It's the way business works. It's politics, unfair. So he says he has some very good inside scoop, but this is a situation where, according to Paulie Malignaggi, this would blackball him in the industry. So they're not going to publicly come out. See, I already said this too. Things like this, sometimes they won't come out if it is in fact true with Pacquiao. Sometimes they won't come out until after. Like if he didn't get caught during like a cycle, or during, like if he was taking and he didn't get caught during those times, then it won't come out until after Pacquiao's probably retired or something. Then somebody will come forward or whatever. Just like Tupac, when he got shot, nobody knew nothing. I'm talking about the ultimate shooting that was fatal in Las Vegas. Nobody knew nothing, but then years later, like Pac's been gone for like 20 years, the movie came out, It's All Eyes on Me. Now all of a sudden in recent years, we start hearing more and more, and like people in jail and telling stories about, oh, what happened, I know who killed Tupac. But in '96, when it happened, everybody's mum, nobody knows. See, this is another thing I can't stand with like, there'll be a certain distinct topic and a lot of you casuals switch the subject. And what about Memo? Like, I mean, we'll talk about him, that's cool, but that deflecting is obviously why you're doing that. When the heat's on your guy and there's pressure in the conversation and the topic is on someone you want to like kind of protect, you'd be like, oh, Lomachenko should fight Rigondeaux. And then you'd be like, oh, why didn't Floyd fight Keith Thurman? Like, what Floyd's fight? Like, what does that have to do with anything? You know what I mean? It's just clearly a way to deflect, to switch the conversation subject. And Paulie responded, Mimo has a past. He can never get away from it. I believe people should be forgiven if they come clean, though. He also knows his stuff well. See, and that's the difference. He did come clean and testified or whatever and spoke to what he was involved with and whatnot. John said, proper harsh if you haven't got proof, and probably a bit slanderous as well. And then Paulie says, tell him to sue me if he has the balls. In court, though, I could bring my weapons. They know better, which is why it hasn't happened. Move on. Which is a good point. He sued Mayweather for slander. Why not sue Pacquiao? Or why doesn't Pacquiao sue Paulie Malignaggi? He sued Mayweather for slander. What are your thoughts on Mayweather getting caught using masking agents for the Pacquiao fight? Once again, Juan Carlos deflecting. Like, we're talking, initially the conversation was Pacquiao Horn, and Paulie was making statements on what he believes Pacquiao, and of course you have to bring up Floyd. What was he masking? They got random testing that entire training camp leading into the fight, which is why I was so sure of the outcome. And someone says, I love it when uneducated non-athletes try to talk to athletes about doping. Good point. See, that's what I'm saying. And then they just disappear when they can't come with proper facts to just disintegrate. Someone says, Ben Johnson, I wouldn't be asking the question if I never wondered why as well as power through 8 divisions. So they're really asking Paulie about this. That's your biggest clue right there. Even a complete moron should be able to tell that's not something that happens naturally. Resistance too. So obviously talking about the ability punch resistance. Rob Harvey says, anyone who thinks he was clean after fighting Hatton, the Ricky Hatton fight, needs to be drug tested themselves. And then Paulie said, or his next fight after that when he fought Cotto for the matter. And then I think he elaborates on that. Kermit says, I love Pacquiao, but I was most definitely naive at the time not to think was the Margarito fight that made me realize though. Paulie says, another huge clue right there. Another fight where only an idiot wouldn't be suspicious. And they're referring to obviously Margarito's big as hell and Pacquiao started off slow. Now this is, I'm not gonna accuse anyone. It is what it is. But the suspicion is clearly there for a lot of people because you got to look at it. That would be like Chocolatito, who is moved up 3 pounds to fight Carlos Cuadras and fight Sor Rungvisai, and he's struggling with them more so than he was when he was fighting Brian Valoria and the guys at 115, right? And he moves up 3 pounds and he has a lot more issue with those guys because they're a bit bigger. That would be like Chocolatito moving up to fight Jermell Charlo at a catchweight. You know what I mean? He fought Margarito, who's big, 5'10", 5'10 and a half off the top of my head. And he fought him at a catchweight, let's say 152. That's like him fighting Chocolatito. It'd be like, what? This dude really moved up over a course of a certain amount of years? I mean, you guys take it for what it's worth, but that is something that to note. You don't really see that often. That's why Pacquiao is the only one who holds that record of 8 divisions because it's hard. I mean, there's a lot of great fighters like Miguel Cotto. He moved up 4 divisions. You know what I mean? And he fought. I'm not trying to take anything away, but the Sergio Martinez he fought wasn't 100% healthy, and that was very evident. But do you really think Cotto would be able to beat Jermall Charlo at 160? Can he even beat him at 154 when he was there? You know what I mean? Can he beat Golovkin? I don't know. Why didn't he fight him if he could beat him? You know what I'm saying? And Cotto's a very talented fighter with a very deep resume, and he only moved up 4 divisions. Floyd only 5. And I say only, not like only. Broner moved up 4, but can you imagine Broner moving up 4 more divisions? He would get slaughtered. I like AB, but I mean, very hard thing to do. But obviously in the lower divisions, some of the weights are smaller, like it's a 3-pound jump. But to go from like the 106 or whatever Pacquiao started off all the way to 150 plus. Interesting. I agree with that point, but what I'm saying is if you sign with a guy as a trainer with a history, then you should also do VADA or USADA. I agree there in the very least to calm people's suspicions. The Cotto fight to me was where you could no longer have blinders on. Cotto was big punching and big strong at 140 and 147 pounder, and he walked him down. Shaking my head. And Paulie says, and Cotto was landing some big shots as well. That one did it for me. I was a naive idiot. That fight changed my perception of Manny for good. So you guys let me know what it is. Do you agree with this speculation on Manny Pacquiao? Another thing that doesn't really, I guess, help Pacquiao's cause is that it just seems that now certain things with Manny Pacquiao are no longer the same. You know what I mean? So everything is circumstantial, but the fact that you can't beat a Jeff Horn, that makes people wonder even more. Like, you know what I mean? Brandon Rios, Brandon Rios came up from 140 to 147, right? And Pacquiao didn't even get an official knockdown. I think the knockdown, there was one, and I think that should have been given a knockdown, but the referee said it was a slip. You know what I mean? And he didn't knock down Margarito, I don't believe, but at the same time, he destroyed his eye to the point where he really couldn't compete much after that and had to retire for a period of time. So you guys let me know what it is, what you think with Paulie's speculation. But if you're being an objective fan, the speculation he's referring to, those are questions that people do have, like, or those are the things, the circumstantial things that, I mean, people have questions with, like, why can't you stop a guy now? And you were stopping and or demolishing guys. Why are you struggling with Jeff Horn? Like, I understand age plagues everybody, but the thing is, if you really know boxing, age plays a part. Like George Foreman, if you look at when he was fighting Muhammad Ali, he looked big, he looked in shape, he was muscular, he was hitting the heavy bag, he was you know what I mean? That was Foreman. Even at an advanced age, he had power. Fights he was totally losing, like Evander Holyfield late in his career, he was losing that fight. But Evander Holyfield, you guys do the research. Evander Holyfield is on record saying Foreman hit me the hardest, or was one of the hardest. He said at one point in the fight, and keep in mind, he was pretty handily beating George Foreman. You look at George Foreman's physique, he no longer looked like the Foreman that fought Muhammad Ali. You know what I mean? And Evander Holyfield admits, he says, at one point after the round, I went to my corner and I asked him if he knocked out all my teeth, because it felt like he knocked out my teeth, like my teeth were gone. So obviously that's some real deal punching power. No pun intended, real deal Holyfield, get it? But that's real power. You have a mouthpiece on and you think a motherfucker still broke your teeth out. That's crazy. You know what I mean? It's clear power. Even guys like Michael Moore dominating an older Foreman, right? George out of nowhere knocks him out. You say, oh, he didn't have a chin, but the power was still there. Foreman always possessed the power until his last fight with Cannon Briggs. And finally, you'll see a dialogue between Paulie Malignaggi and ESPN's Dan Rafael. And Dan Rafael says, show proof or have a direct witness tell me what they saw and it will be written. Paulie Malignaggi says, reread the tweet and understand why things can't be said. You guys in the media have to start hanging out in the gyms and not just show up fight night. Which is a good point. So I'm in the gym, so I don't have a problem with Paulie saying that. And I think it's true, because anyone can sit in a cubicle or at a desk or at home and laptop at Starbucks. But to be in the gyms, it's a whole different experience, because people talk. I know stuff that I can't reveal, but I know prime fighters being, like, guys with names being knocked out in sparring, things going on, or issues with the trainer and the fighter, and then you see them and then it's all love. I know so much, but that's not really my spot to become some kind of gossip column where everything I hear I repeat, and it's from trusted good sources. Like I know some of this stuff is being true because there's different ways to tell. Like sometimes I'll hear a story and then I won't even tell the person about the story or that I know, and then another person who wasn't there the first time I heard it will tell me the same stuff, and their recounting of what happened was very similar. Like someone got knocked out in sparring, and then person A told me this months before, and I never said anything to anybody. And then I would hear from someone else who happened to be there, and they're telling me and basically corroborating the first story I heard. And Paulie, he's dead on. You have to be in the gyms to understand that, and building a rapport. You know what I mean? Some of these guys are reported. That's why boxers, you'll see more and more boxers, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but you'll see more and more boxers fuck with me because I'm down to earth. You know what I mean? And I'm just a regular person, so I usually have a good relationship with all these people. Like, I'm not afraid. I don't tuck my tail. I speak how I feel, and that's it. And real recognizes real. And Rayfield says, Raphael, yeah, because they're going to take stuff in front of us at the gym, LOL, and try to make a joke of it. But he says, no, but people talk in the gyms. You enter the circle, so to speak, so common sense. Now, again, this is all speculation. I just want to open up the dialogue and the conversation and get your input. Let me know what you guys think. Is it impossible? Was Pacquiao ever on anything? What do you think about Pacquiao Horn? Will the rematch take place? Drop all of your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next videos.
At the same time, you favor Thurman in the fight.
Can you break down the Pacquiao versus Mayweather best of the era argument? Who is the best of the era in your opinion, and why?
I mean, I'm not going to get into it because it's going to take about 10 minutes, so I'll just put it like this. I'll give it to you the easy way. He beat him head to head. He beat him when it wasn't close. He made him look like he was playing a different sport, and that's it. I mean,
and you won a lot of money.
You know, yeah, and I don't want a lot of money.
Oh, you won a lot of money. Okay.
You know, as I was saying earlier in another interview, you know, you can compare fantasy matchups like Mayweather and Leonard, and you know, you're never going to be right or wrong because they'll never fight. You can compare Mayweather and Pacquiao. They actually fought, guys. I mean, I don't understand how this is even still an argument. It wasn't close. It wasn't competitive. It wasn't even a good fight. It was. I don't even know if it was even a fight. The fuck?
What do you think about all the flack that you got for picking Mayweather for all those years? You said Mayweather would defeat Pacquiao, and you basically laid out the blueprint on what would happen.
I mean, I don't know.
Are you used to it?
People get mad, you know, like people.
I see you on Twitter.
Amir's fans like me, and then they get mad at me when I pick Canelo in this fight. I mean, guys, I'm a boxing analyst. Guy doesn't mean I dislike one of the guys just because I don't pick for him. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, Manny, I do dislike.
Probably between you and Max. What do you like him? Why do you like him?
I think he cheated. I thought he was fucking. I think he's a stone cold cheater. He was. I think his whole era is all bullshit.
Why do you think they gave him a pass though with that? When Floyd asked for the test, he got flack for asking for a test. Manny didn't take the test.
I don't know, man. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know. I think that, unfortunately, I think there's a lot more cheaters in this era than we're starting to realize. And I'm starting to like open my eyes to it, especially the past like 7-8 years. It's really, you know, like. But Pacquiao was the one that opened my eyes to it. I can't. I'd be lying to you if I said until I saw Pacquiao, I didn't realize what the fucking problem was. And then I saw Pacquiao and I said, holy shit, something's going on over here.
Now,
now I'm seeing it in the whole sport. We gotta go there. All right, guys. I gotta get to work. I gotta get paid this weekend too.
Did Amir look too big to you?
Huh?
Did he look too big to you?
No, Amir looked good. Amir looked good. Both guys clearly get trained and are in shape.
Yeah. Paulie, so you don't think it's too much muscle that he put on?
Had to put on.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.